Jiangnan Base City, Zhejiang City, Cooking District No. 1 High School. In a classroom where the curtains are all drawn up and it looks a bit gloomy. The multimedia equipment in the classroom is running, playing a scene of a fierce and cruel war between monsters and humans. The young and green faces change their expressions in the uncertain light, and their emotions constantly fluctuate with the playback of the video. At the same time, a deep and thick male voice sounded along with the image on the screen. At the beginning of the 21st century, there have been several viral influenzas in the world. At the second-to-last table in the classroom near the back door window, there is a boy lying on his stomach. As if not affected by the explanation sound, he was sleeping sweetly. A long, rhythmic, slight snoring sounded from him. The student next to turned a blind eye to this scene. Only the long hair next to the boy was waist-length, with neat bangs on his forehead, and the girl wearing thick black rimmed glasses looked at him with some concern. And the deep voice echoed in the classroom with excitement. In September 2015, beginning with the attacks of endless creatures in the ocean, the monsters transformed into countless birds and beasts began to attack human settlements. During the war, many powerful warriors have emerged among humans. There have been a lot of evocative stories. The large-scale war between monsters and humans began in September 2015 and ended in March 2021. From 2013 to 2021, these 8 years are the period of nirvana in human history. Ring ling ling. With the sound of the final explanation of the film falling slowly, the school bell rang just right. Wow! The curtains were suddenly pulled open, and bright and dazzling sunlight came in from outside. The boy who originally sat at the back of the classroom reacted like an instinctive reaction. Huo stood up straight and kept silent, tidying up the books and sundries in front of him very quickly and naturally. A puddle of suspicious liquid appeared on the table. The boy wanted to wipe it with a tissue and dig out his pocket, only to find it was empty. At this moment, a small white hand held a pack of tissues and handed it over. The boy looked down and saw that he was his always taciturn table mate. Not ashamed, the boy grinned, showing his white teeth. "Thanks." "Yet." The girl hummed slightly, but her hand that quickly retracted and placed under the table trembled slightly. Took the tissue and wiped it quickly. The boy returned the remaining tissues to his table again, clapped his hands, and walked out from the back door of the classroom. Before leaving, he didn't forget to politely talk to his table-mate who had been with him for almost 2 years. "Lin Yu, goodbye." The girl with long hair and waist just opened her mouth, as if she wanted to say something, but the boy had disappeared at the door. Her delicate lips moved, and then she lowered her head somewhat sullenly. After a while, the girl glanced over the boy's seat inadvertently, and landed on his table with traces of wet residue. She didn't know what to think of, and her white and tender face suddenly became ruddy. On the other side, after finishing the last film time for the students to relax, take this class to take a good rest, and after recovering from the fatigue of the excessive exercise last night, the energetic Wang Yi has walked out of the teaching building where he is in the 3rd grade. Walked to the school gate. Wearing a grey tracksuit, he was well proportioned among the crowds of students and seemed not so conspicuous. Only occasionally, a girl passing by saw his face, her eyes lit up slightly. Some students who knew Wang Yi also turned sideways slightly when they saw him, showing an expression of respect and admiration. Regarding these, Wang Yi is already quite familiar. After all, who made him one of the only 5 senior martial arts students in this high school? Wang Yi is a traverser. And this world is the world of Eat the Starry Sky that Wang Yi is very familiar with. Wang Yi traveled to an ordinary family living in a tube building in the base city. The living conditions were not very good. He had a sister who was 2 years older than him. But after graduating from high school, he was looking for a job and married. He is currently the only one. Live with my parents in a cramped and distressed low-rent house with only dozens of square meters. And this house has lived in Wang Yi's memory for 18 years. When Wang Yi crossed over, his soul merged into the embryo being conceived by his mother, and finally grew into the current Wang Yi. May be the reason why the soul has crossed over. From a young age, Wang Yi appeared to be mature and smarter than his peers, very sensible and obedient, and his academic performance was also very good. In addition to studying, he has been exercising since he was a child. Sometimes he was able to listen to those video silent training sessions all day without screaming tired, which shocked his family. Relying on such efforts, after joining the extreme martial arts gym in the community at the age of 16, Wang Yi was awarded the title of senior student in less than a year and became the only family among the more than 4,000 students of the number 1 high school in Guqing district. Ordinary, but a student who has been awarded the title of senior martial arts student. Because of this, Wang Yi has a great reputation in the school, and many students admire Wang Yi very much. But no one knows Wang Yi's inner suffering. It's been 18 years. If you want talent but no talent, if you want cheats but no cheats, what will I do next? Wang Yi walked out of the school gate and walked on the crowded street. Although he wore plain and ordinary clothes, his straight waist and outstanding appearance still stood out among the crowd. Some passing women looked slightly. Wang Yi didn't squint, thinking about his own thoughts. It is now April 2056, and 1 month has passed since the second semester of high school. Is to enter the official plot time. The protagonist Luo Feng in the original work will awaken his innate spiritual power, and then walk on the path of people blocking murder, and blocking the killing of God. Wang Yi is just an ordinary college student. Although he is a senior martial arts student and a genius in the eyes of many people, Wang Yi knows how much water this genius is. It took him more than 10 years to work hard to come out. Is nothing compared to that freak Luo Feng. Looking at the entire swallowing sky, in a word, it is a history of struggle on the wall. If you don't hang up, you are embarrassed to say that you are a genius. Although Wang Yi has tried his best to go to Yangzhou City and get acquainted with Luo Feng over the years, his relationship is just like an ordinary friend, and his best friend Wei Wen, who grew up with him in open crotch pants, is absolutely incomparable. As for whether he can hug the golden thighs of the future city lord Luo and become an immortal god, Wang Yi is also very guilty. Although thinking, Wang Yi's walking speed is not slow. After 10 minutes, he has already arrived at a very famous and wealthy neighborhood nearby. Looking at the beautiful environment and tree-lined villa complex, Wang Yi took a deep breath, full of wild hope. One day, I will live in such a spacious and comfortable house with my family. But, before this, Miss Gao? Xiao Wang is here already. Let him wait for me on the east lawn of the community. A cool and pleasant voice came from the video phone. After asking the owner for confirmation, the security at the gate of the community put Wang Yi in. Wang Yi walked in and came to the lawn dotted with flowers and trees to the east. After waiting silently for a while, he saw a young girl in sportswear with a ponytail coming over. She was very beautiful, slender, with only an expression on her face. It's a little cold, giving people the feeling that no one is near, but also with a little reserved arrogance. From the outside, he should be about the same age as Wang Yi and belong to the same age. I feel that the body posture I practiced yesterday was a bit wrong. As soon as she approached, she said directly. Let me see. Wang Yi didn't talk nonsense either. After getting along for almost a year, the two sides also understand each other's personality better. Hey! Wang Yi stepped forward, and suddenly punched out. His fist blasted out like a cannonball, unexpectedly bringing out the sound of breaking wind. The ponytail girl's eyes condensed, and her body instantly retreated like a spring. Wang Yi followed him with a diagonal kick, aimed at the girl's gap, and aimed at the girl's belly, seemingly merciless. Was just a few short shots. The girl felt it was difficult to breathe. When she couldn't bear it, Wang Yi suddenly stopped. The hair on the front of the ponytail girl's forehead was a little messy, her white jade-like face glowed with a hint of red, her breathing was also a bit rapid, giving her a charming and moving feeling. Wang Yi turned a blind eye to the scenery in front of him, and said calmly, there were several mistakes in your actions just now. 1 hour of tutoring time passed quickly. Came out of the villa complex, it was past 6 o'clock, and it was already dark. The street lamp on the side of the road has been lit up, exuding a dim brilliance. Wang Yi walked alone in the streets, suddenly feeling lonely. This tutoring work has been done for almost a year, and it is estimated to be over soon. Wang Yi sighed in his heart. Wang Yi's family conditions are not very good, his parents are just ordinary people, and his monthly salary is very low. In addition, to cover Wang Yi's study and exercise expenses, he also burdens the financial burden of the family in difficulties. He watched his parents get up early every day. Working in the dark is not leisure, and Wang Yi doesn't feel uncomfortable in his heart. So after officially obtaining the qualification of martial arts senior student a year ago, he quickly found a tutoring job nearby through channels. The job content was to instruct the other party to practice physical fitness and other 150 per hour, 5 days a week. Saturday and Sunday, depending on the situation, usually 1 to 2 hours of teaching, about 4500-6000 in a month. The income is high and easy. If Wang Yi is not a senior martial arts student, there is no such a good job. Senior martial arts students alone have so much income, not to mention the above-mentioned warriors. Unfortunately, I am still far from the standard of Khasa war fighters. Wang Yi felt a little heavy. As a traverser who knows the plot of the original book, although not every detail is very clear, he still knows the general plot, especially the chapter about the beginning of the earth, which is the beginning of the devouring sky, he knows well. It's a pity, although I know, but I don't have the ability to change. The reason why Luo Feng was able to do that in the original book is that he is the protagonist and he is born with the protagonist's aura, and the other is that he himself is a peerless genius, awakening his mental power at the age of 18, and he is also the talent of the world's first spiritual teacher. The progress is rapid, the encounter is magical, and he has reached the top of the earth in just a few years. How can this kind of strength be compared to Wang Yunanj, who has obtained the qualifications of the martial arts senior student only after more than 10 years of hard work by himself? One is like a great god, the other is rushing to the street, it's totally incomparable. Sometimes, Wang Yi wants to give up, or just spend his life like this ordinary. But when I think about my rare journey into this world, I know the next history of this world, but I can't do anything. I can only watch it, and I feel very unwilling. In his previous life, he worked so hard and he was just an ordinary person. Should he repeat the trajectory of his entire life and continue to be an ordinary person now? Wang Yi clenched his fists, took a deep breath, and looked at the stars in the distance. By the side of the street where people come and go, a teenager stood there alone for a long time, looking up at the sky, but no one knew what he was thinking. Wang Yi did not choose to go home, but came to the district martial arts gym. Extreme Martial Arts Center, the largest martial arts center on earth, was founded by the world's #1 powerhouse Hong D. After swiping the student ID at the front entrance of the martial arts hall, Wang Yi entered the martial arts courtyard. Other students along the way saw Wang Yi wearing a senior student ID card on his chest. As long as they were not senior students, regardless of their gender or age, they would stop to show respect and greet Wang Yi one after another. Brother. Hello brother. There are also people who know Wang Yi, who directly call him Brother Wang. In the martial arts gym, it is divided into junior students, intermediate students, advanced students and junior students. Needless to say, the number of junior students is the largest. There are only more than 100 people in the pavilion. Wang Yi can rely on his ordinary family background to become a senior student with his own efforts. It is indeed very powerful, and he is also respected by many people in the martial arts gym. Inside the martial arts museum, there are 3 huge silver-white buildings, shaped like 3 spaceships. 3 giant buildings are the teaching building for junior students, the teaching building for intermediate students, and the teaching building for senior students. Among them, the first and second floors of the teaching building for advanced students are large teaching halls. But Wang Yi went directly to the third floor of the senior student teaching building, where only senior students are qualified to come up. On the third floor, there was a large martial arts hall that was 100 meters long and wide. At this time, there were already a dozen people here. Yu reading www.yuuganshu.com Wang Yi. Haha, your kid is here too. Xiao Yi, would you like to go out with your sister for a drink later, sister treats? People who were exercising or chatting and resting in the large martial arts hall saw Wang Yi appearing and greeted them enthusiastically. There are a few young women with good looks and good figures, and they even make moles. According to the rules of the martial arts center, you can only study as a martial arts student at the age of 16. After the age of 30, you are not allowed to study in the martial arts center again, occupying teaching resources. These are young people in their 20s, but Wang Yi is only 18 years old. Although he is not as sturdy as Luo Feng, he can wear 3-in-1, but his strength is also very impressive. Especially among the 5 senior students in his high school, Wang Yi is probably the strongest one. Is young and has potential, so these senior martial arts students value Wang Yi very much, and they are happy to have a good relationship with him. Wang Yi also smiled and greeted these acquaintances, but he had a calm expression on the molesting of the women, and his expression remained unchanged. After saying hello, Wang Yi went straight to the 2 fist strength testing machines placed side by side in the corner of the martial arts hall, turned on the device switch, then stood in front of the fist target, took a deep breath, calmed down and felt physical function, mobilize all muscle strength, clenched fists fiercely, made a dive posture, and punched out a fist. Boom! Wang Yi's right fist hit the black fist target with a sound of wind. The target trembles slightly, and then a number is displayed on the side screen 789 kg. Wang Yi looked at this number, slowly closed his fists, but his heart was full of loss. There is no time. According to Wang Yi's understanding of the original work, if you want to become a real warrior, you must reach the level of a quasi-warrior. As we all know, under the martial artist, there are the martial arts students. According to the standard of ability, they are divided into junior students, intermediate students, and advanced students. The standard for junior students, a punch strength of 300 kg and a speed of 18 meters per second, the standard for intermediate students, 500 kg punch strength, 20 meters per second, the standard for advanced students, 700 kg punch strength, 22 meters per second, standard for Kasa war fighters, fist strength of 900 kg, speed of 25 meters per second. And senior students, if you want to become a warrior, need to pass 2 assessments. The first is the physical fitness assessment of the martial artist, which is the quasi-warrior assessment. Once passed, it means that in terms of physical fitness, it has reached the standard of becoming a martial artist. Is already considered a quasi-warrior at this time. And this second assessment is the warrior actual combat assessment. Sora has physical fitness and is not qualified to become a warrior. Only when you pass the real battle with monsters can you get the title of warrior. After, Wang Yi came to the runway next to the martial arts hall, turned on the test instrument, and tested his speed. As expected, it was only 22.9 m/s. If you want to pass the quasi-warrior assessment, you must reach the standard for punch strength, speed, and nerve reaction speed. Obviously, Wang Yi still has some distance. Wang Yi is not in a good mood. My current strength should be the same as the original protagonist Luo Feng at this time. He was also about the same strength as mine at that time. He said that I need to go to university to achieve the physical fitness of a Kasa martial artist. With my current progress speed and conditions, I am afraid that most of it can only wait until then. Wang Yi suddenly became irritable. The ignorant is fearless. For Wang Yi, who knows the plot of the original novel, there are many more troubles that ordinary people don't. In the future, the earth will face many disasters. Let alone those far away, there will be monsters threatening near. In a few years, the giant starry sky will descend on the earth and kill them. If it were not for Luo Feng to turn the tide, rely on the protagonist's halo to win the golden horn monster. It is estimated that mankind has long been extinct. Following the Earth was discovered by the forces in the universe, the Nolan Mountain family looked at the Earth sternly, and they wanted to keep the Earth in their pockets by any means. Do you think this is the end? Even worse is still to come. The Earth is actually a mysterious planet created by an alien power in the universe. It is extremely precious and attracts the super existence of the human race. There is a fierce competition for a group of stars. When the immortal gods playing with toys revolved around the earth, the sky fell apart. Thinking about it this way, Wang Yi gasped, feeling like he was sitting in a volcano erupting at any time. Although I can rely on Luo Feng's relationship to leave the earth and live on an extraterrestrial life at that time, as a native of the earth, it is always not so comfortable to leave the hometown. And my family and friends are here. Even if you don't think about yourself, you have to think about the people around you. The universe is also very cruel and dangerous. It is not as beautiful as imagined. Without sufficient strength, it is impossible to survive. Wang Yi doesn't know if he will change the original trajectory of this world if he crosses over. If Luo Feng loses the chain at that time and something goes wrong, will he just sit back and wait for death, watching his relatives and friends die in the disaster? Nothing. Just thinking about that kind of scene can make Wang Yi breathless. Different from those who wore souls, who only used the devouring starry sky as a game, Wang Yi truly regarded this world as his hometown. The plants and trees here, many people are alive to him, not a concept. Wang Yi finally understood why Luo Feng was so desperate and crazy in the original work, and he wanted to protect his hometown at all costs. It's him. If anyone wants to take away all of this, I'm afraid he will be even crazier. But, what can he do? Looking at his hands, Wang Yi felt a sense of powerlessness in his body. Coming out of the martial arts hall, the night is darker and heavier, just like Wang Yi's depressed mood now. Soon, Wang Yi returned to the area where he lived, the Guangyuan community, which was composed of a large number of tube buildings. This is a low-rent housing community built by the government. Wang Yi's home is in this community. He has lived for 18 years. The place. Brother Wang Yi. As soon as he walked into the community, Wang Yi heard someone calling him. He turned his head and saw a few girls standing not far away. One of them was a girl with short hair in a short-sleeved shirt and trousers with a surprised expression. Wang Yi was startled when she saw her, then smiled, "Xiao Yan." The short-haired girl has a slightly round face, beautiful features, white face with a youthful atmosphere unique to girls of this age, and after whispering a few words with her friends around, they ran over blushing amidst their chuckles, and looked with joy in their eyes. The boy in front of him. "Brother Wang Yi, did you just come back?" Wang Yi also smiled and said, "Just came back from the martial arts gym, how about you?" He glanced at the few girls who were still not far away. Xiao Yan blinked, "I just came back from shopping with my classmates, or let's go back together. I have some questions and I want to ask Brother Wang Yi." "That's good." Wang Yi did not refuse. After all, Xiao Yan was also an acquaintance he had known for a long time. In the low-rent housing community where Wang Yi lives, although they are all poor, you read www.yuyuganshu.com, but the relationship is good, and Xiao Yan's house is also a nearby resident. Xiao Yan quickly became acquainted with Wang Yi after the entanglement made Wang Yi relieved. In fact, Wang Yi didn't do anything at the time. He just showed his martial arts senior student ID, and those gangsters were persuaded. Senior martial arts students are still very deterrent in the eyes of ordinary people. A man and a woman walk together in the old community, and they will greet each other enthusiastically when they meet people along the way. "Hey, it's Xiao Ai." "Hello, Uncle Li." "Xiao Yi, you are back." "Yes, Aunt Chen. Isn't this Xiao Yan? I'm back with Xiao I again. Xiao Yan's cheek flushed slightly. It's not that Wang Yi didn't see the expression of the girl next to him, but he regarded it as invisible. In this era, people are still very open to the concept of love. 18 years old is considered an adult and can get married. It is common to get married after graduation from high school. But Wang Yi has never been intimate with any girl. In the eyes of outsiders, Wang Yi has good grades and is a senior martial arts student. He often goes out as a tutor to earn money to subsidize the family, and he has a face that makes women unable to move. Honestly, Wang Yi has not fallen in love. It also makes many people feel strange. Only Wang Yi knows why. As she walked, Xiao Yan suddenly remembered something and said, "By the way, brother Wang Yi, when I came out before, I saw your uncle seems to be here." Wang Yi paused in his footsteps. Brows frowned slightly. "Are you here again?" He sighed softly in his heart, and looked up at the tube building in front of him, which was as tall as a huge square concrete pillar. His house had arrived. Wang Yi's father, Wang Shun, was born before the era of Nirvana. The original home was destroyed by monster attacks. At that time, I don't know how many people were displaced. Wang Shun and the adults were also displaced together and suffered hardships. Later, after the war ended in Al-Qaeda City established, Wang Yi's father can be considered settled down. There were 3 people in Wang Yi's father's generation: his uncle, his father, and his aunt. And his grandparents passed away 10 years ago. Since then, the relationship between the 3 brothers and sisters who had been in a good relationship has gradually alienated. Later, Wang Yi's mother, Li Lan, was admitted to the hospital because of illness and needed a lot of money. Wang Yi's family conditions were already difficult, and Wang Yi's siblings needed to support them, so they had to borrow a lot from their uncle and aunt. After Wang Yi and Xiao Yan separated, they walked into the residential building. Wang Yi's home is on the 17th floor of a residential building. He is very fast all the way, every step he takes is 3 or 4 steps, his breath is still stable, and his movements are as vigorous as a leopard. The pedestrians he encountered along the way, he could also get out of the way in time, without even touching the sleeves. That's it. It didn't take long before he flew to the 17th floor, in front of his house. On the 17th floor, there are 8 households in total, and Wang Yi's house is among them. Wang Yi stopped and looked at the old door. Across the door, with his keen hearing, he could still hear the dialogue inside. Wang Yi has no expression on his face. Squeak! After a while, the door opened, and 2 middle-aged men and women came out. They were all startled when they saw Wang Yi, and then smiled. "Xiao Yi, you are back from school." Wang Yi's previous expression also disappeared, turning into an enthusiastic smile. "Yes, uncle and auntie, why don't you come here today and don't say a word? If I find out, I will come back soon to chat with you." Wang Yi's uncle's hand subconsciously placed his hand on his mouth and coughed slightly. "No, you're so busy with your studies, we just come and sit casually. Just finished talking with your parents, we're leaving, you can do it when you are free. Come and play with us. By the way, Xiao Ai, your cousin will get married next month, you remember to come over." Before leaving, the aunt turned her head and said intentionally or unconsciously. Watching their shadows disappear in the corridor, the sound of footsteps faded away, and the smile on Wang Yi's face slowly faded. Opening the door, Wang Yi walked into the house and saw his parents, who were less than 40 square meters in size, sitting in the living room silently. When Wang Yi came back, they stood up together. "Son, I'm back, go eat." Wang Yi's mother Li Lan said with concern. Wang Yi did not promise his mother, but looked at his father with a little grey hair. "Dad, uncle, did they come and ask for money again?" Wang Shun and Li Lan's expressions were slightly stagnant, and then they sighed slightly. "Your cousin will get married next month and needs a lot of money, so your uncle will come over and want us to help." Wang Shun's tone is a bit vague. These things have nothing to do with you, you just need to concentrate on studying and prepare for the college entrance examination in 2 months. Wang Yi didn't ask any more when he saw the expressions of his parents. He silently came to the only table in the hall, opened the lid, and looked at the still warm meal, but he felt a little sour in his heart. It would be nice if I could stand up a little bit more. Wang Yi thought silently in his heart. After eating the food, he cleaned and put the dishes, chopsticks and dishes, then said to his parents, he went back to his room. The whole house is a one-bedroom and own a living room structure, very narrow and simple, but Wang Yi lived in the living room with his father, and his mother and sister in the bedroom. Once opposed, but can't hold back the parents' opinions. In many parents' hearts, they want to keep the best for their children. Wang Yi has no intention of studying tonight, lying on his bed, staring blankly at the ceiling above his head in a daze. Time goes by little by little. Into the night. Wang Yi opened his eyes again, but there was no trace of sleepiness in his eyes. He looked at the dark room with piercing energy, as if waiting for something. When the time is approaching midnight. Ding! A crisp sound appeared in his mind. This voice is already very familiar to Wang Yi. Almost 3 years ago, this mysterious voice rang in Wang Yi's ear, and it appeared on time every midnight. But every time it was over after a ding sound, nothing happened, which disappointed Wang Yi, who had been waiting for a long time. The original surprise, expectation, gradually turned into loss and disappointment. Even Wang Yi wondered if he had a mental hallucination because he was too expectant under tremendous pressure. I went to the hospital, but everything is normal, there is no problem at all. But that voice sounded on time every night. It's like a beauty who is scratching her head every day and teasing you but never let you touch her. Made Wang Yi's heart itch with hatred. The 1000th time. Wang Yi thought to his heart after listening to this voice. Originally, he thought that this time would be the same as before, and it would end after the sound was over, there was no follow-up. But what I didn't expect was 1003 connection, search for the existence of the host. Officially bind the host, start to detect the current location, has been confirmed. Ding! Congratulations to the host for signing in successfully, signing in for the first time, and obtaining special rewards, rewarding the first karma of the 9 tribulations secret code. The secret of 9 tribulations is the highest level reward for the current location. Your genetic level has been raised 3 times. Wang Yi abruptly sat up from the bed. There was an unbelievable color on his face. At this time, a mysterious energy quietly flooded Wang Yi's body, instantly changing the internal structure of his genes. In just a short moment, Wang Yi's body genes changed drastically. The genes of the body have tripled in an instant, which means that Wang Yi's physical strength has tripled in this instant. It happened that everything came naturally during this process, and Wang Yi didn't feel anything yet. But he can clearly feel the changes in his body. Clenched his fists, I could feel the powerful force. He has an instinct. He punches him now, I'm afraid he can hit a force far surpassing advanced students. I am afraid that the fighters who have just passed the actual combat assessment of the fighters are not as good as they are now. Wang Yi was extremely excited. I transferred my consciousness to the extra golden panel in my mind, and at the same time received the above information. I quickly understood the purpose of this golden finger. The only purpose of this cheat is to sign in. Can sign in once a day. If the host does not arrange it, it will automatically sign in according to the host's location. Rewards are automatically and randomly given according to the location of the host. Is all luck. And the same place, you can only sign in once at most. And the reward level is also different, generally from a low level to a high level. For example, when Wang Yi signs in at a martial arts gym, what may appear is the sword technique, Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com exercise technique, body technique, weapons, medicine, etc. If the highest reward appears in the location, it represents the location with the largest possible sign-in range. Once appears, all locations within that location will no longer be able to sign in for rewards. For example, normally, Wang Yugong won the first kulpa of the secret book of 9 tribulations, which represents the highest reward on the earth, so he can no longer draw prizes within the range of the earth. But it is the first time he draws a lottery, which is a special reward, so he can ignore this condition and continue to sign in other places on the earth. The secret code of the 9 tribulations, actually is the secret code of the 9 tribulations. Wang Yi was very excited at the moment. The secret book of 9 tribulations, but in the original book, the protagonist becomes stronger, it is extremely against the sky. It is claimed to be restricted by the laws of the universe, and only one person in the entire universe can practice. The reason for this is that the secret code of 9 tribulations is to be passed on and depends on the heavenly soul crystal. And the heavenly soul crystal has incredible power, is a real treasure in the universe, even with the ability of the reincarnation of the mountain guest king, only one can be made. Very precious. And this exercise was created by the strongest person in the universe, the Zhao's Hanka, who was born from the reincarnation of the mysterious king of the origin continent outside of the primitive universe, based on the core inheritance of Jinzi world. It can change a life. The most fundamental gene is constantly improving. Is like an ordinary human whose gene level is 1, and Wang Yi has now received the first calamity of the secret book of 9 tribulations, and his gene level has become 3. Is also a warrior, and his body has the same level of evolution, but Wang Yi is 3 times stronger than the opponent. This is the gap. No matter how you evolve, as long as the most fundamental genetic level does not change, Wang Yi will always be 3 times stronger than the opponent. Wang Yi couldn't help clenching his fists, his chance to change his destiny finally came. Wang Yi summarized the 3 messages of cheat. 1 can sign in once a day. 2nd, the same place can only be checked in once. 3 is that the reward for sign-in is random. Although this is the case, there seem to be many places on the earth where you can sign in. If you sign in all those places. Wang Yi's heart was moved, and the blood in his body seemed to be boiling. Moreover, not only on the earth, but also in the universe, there are countless places for me to sign in. If so, perhaps his ascension speed will be unimaginable, far exceeding Luo Feng. One night passed in Wang Yi's imagination. The next day, Wang Yi came to the number 1 high school in Guqing district. At the entrance of the school, there are students wearing school uniforms, full of youthful vitality, coming in 2s and 3s. Wang Yi. As soon as Wang Yi walked to the school gate, he heard someone calling him behind him. When he looked back, he couldn't help but smile. Li Feng, Zhao Han, Yang Ziming. 3 boys came over. The one on the left has a board-inch head and is estimated to be 1.9 meters tall. He is wearing a white plaid shirt and black slacks with the main color of white. His eyes are sharp and he walks with wind. He looks very imposing. The boy in the middle is slightly fat, fair-skinned, and his hair is dyed into slightly golden curls, but he has a pair of peachy eyes and squinted his eyes, giving people a feeling of joy. The tall and thin one on the right is tall and thin, gentle, wearing gold glasses, and has an approachable smile on his face. When they walked over together, the aura that was invisible, the people next to them involuntarily stepped aside. Guqing District No. 1 High School has 5 senior martial arts students. Besides Wang Yi, these 3 are in front of them. There is 1 girl left. Except for Wang Yi's family conditions, everything else is not ordinary. Poor, civilized, rich, and military, in fact, it can be said in any era. After all, rich people can ask someone to teach, buy nutritional medicine, have a special private training room, etc. The conditions are much better than ordinary people. Wang Yi is the only exception among the 5. This also made several other senior students, Li Feng and others, take a look at Wang Yuzhao. The place of Zhejiang City is too small, and it's the same high school, so there are usually contacts. Once you come and go, you'll be familiar. Wang Yi and these three have a good relationship. Li Feng and others usually have their own circles, but Wang Yi is also one of the few people who take a high look. Wang Yi, I rarely see you these days. What are you up to? Li Feng, who looks the strongest among the four, walked over and patted Wang Yi's shoulder vigorously, and suddenly found something like, "Hey," looked at Wang Yi more seriously, "how do you feel that your kid is a bit different?" Wang Yi smiled slightly, "I have been busy exercising during this period. Maybe I have made some progress." "Really?" Li Feng was a little puzzled. The slightly fat Zhao Han also smiled at this time. "Wang Yi, I said you are really a cultivator. We can't compare with this strength." He shook his head deliberately. Yang Ziming, who looks the most elegant, also lifted the glasses on his nose and smiled. "Wang Yi is really amazing." The three of them were very convinced of Wang Yi. There is no way, this is typed, otherwise, with the three arrogant personalities, how could it be possible to convince other peers? There is only Wang Yi. The self-discipline is terrible, and he is also very calm. There is almost no other entertainment activities in practice and study, and he will not be easily disturbed by other things outside. If there are no accidents, this kind of people will not have low achievements in the future, so Yang Ziming and the others are still very willing to deal with Wang Yi. It's not like Wang Yi. It's just that there are too few people of the same age who can stand at the same level as them. This is a sense of identity. The four of them walked over to the school gate, talking and laughing together, and countless people nearby looked over and talked in private. 5 senior martial arts students from the number 1 high school in Guking district. The four appearing together are also eye-catching. "Wang Yi, there are still 2 months before the college entrance examination. Are you planning to take the exam?" Li Feng said, "I have already thought about it, so I will apply to the Jiangnan First Military Academy. You have good grades and you are a senior in the martial arts school. Cadets, why don't you report to the Jiangnan No. 1 Military Academy with me? Once you come out, you will be an officer, and you can develop very well in the army. In this era, because of the war with monsters, the status of soldiers is still very high, and the benefits are also very good, so many people dream of entering the military academy." Wang Yi smiled faintly, "I plan to participate in the assessment of Kasa war fighters." As soon as these words came out, the three of Li Feng who had been walking stopped. Chi turned his head and looked at Wang Yi with a look of surprise. "Assessment of Kasa war fighters. You?" The three of them are a little hard to understand. Yang Ziming couldn't help saying, "Wang Yi, as far as I know, the assessment of the martial artist is not so good. It must meet the standard of physical fitness and the requirements are very high. With our current conditions, it is very difficult to pass the assessment of the martial artist, almost impossible." "Yes, Wang Yi." Zhao Han also persuaded, "I know that you have always wanted to be a martial artist, but it is not something ordinary people can be. Even if you pass the Kasa martialist assessment, there will be more difficult combat assessments for the martial artist. These 2 assessments are the real warriors, and depending on the actual combat process, there will be casualties. I heard that there are more than 3,000 quasi-warriors throughout the Jiangnan base city to participate in the actual combat assessment every year, but only Onet heard of them pass the assessment. 2 or so, many of them died, and many were severely disabled." Li Feng looked at Wang Yi, "Are you serious?" From just now, he noticed that Wang Yi seemed to be different from before, but he couldn't tell what was different, and now he heard what Wang Yi said. It was only then that Wang Yi had an unprecedented confidence in him. "I want to try," Wang Yi said seriously. Looking at Wang Yi's appearance, Li Feng, Zhao Han, and Yang Ziming, who are familiar with Wang Yi's character, also know that Wang Yi is serious. Although he felt that Wang Yi had a promising future in the college entrance examination to participate in the previously unknown martial artist's actual combat assessment, it was too risky, but they changed their minds. Wang Yi still didn't know if he could pass the quasi-martial artist's assessment. His physical fitness was not up to the standard, that was Wang Yi thought. It's impossible to participate. Furthermore, Wang Yi did not say that he would give up the college entrance examination, only that he would participate in the examination of Kasa war fighters. But they didn't know that Wang Yi's current physical fitness far exceeded the standards of a quasi-warrior. Wang Yi walked into the classroom of his class, walked to the second-to-last seat behind him, and saw that his coy and quiet desk mate was already there. Yu reading www.yuyugonshu.com Morning, classmate Lin Yu. Wang Yi said hello naturally. This is also his habit. Morning, classmate Wang Yi. Lin Yu blinked his eyes. In fact, Wang Yi also discovered that Lin Yu is very beautiful, but she talks less often and seems to be unwilling to socialize with others, so she appears to be lonely and silent. But this is a good thing for Wang Yi, and Lin Yu has also helped him a lot, so he still has a very good impression of Lin Yu. Wang, classmate Wang Yi. After a while, Lin Yu seemed to pluck up courage and leaned in slightly and whispered. Next month on the 18th, can you come over to my birthday party? The faint, good-smelling young girl's unique fragrance puffed his nose, and Wang Yi turned his head to look, just in time to meet Lin Yu's eyes. Lin Yu quickly smeared a layer of rouge on the white and tender cheeks, and stepped back in panic. Wang Yi smiled slightly and said, since it was your invitation from Lin Yu, I am of course willing. Because he had just received the golden finger, he was in a good mood, but he would not refuse Lin Yu's request. After all, it took so long. At the same table. And because they are so sincere and personally invited, it's not good not to go. That's great. Lin Yu also showed a brilliant smile on his face, like 100 flowers blooming, making Wang Yi slightly startled. When seeing Lin Yu and Wang Yi talking and laughing, some students near the classroom also cast strange eyes. Some people still guess whether Wang Yi and Lin Yu are in love. This rumor soon spread throughout the class. Wang Yi heard some of it, but he didn't care about it and laughed it off. But Lin Yu didn't notice it at all. After school in the afternoon, Wang Yi still walked towards the villa complex of the tutor, but he had already decided in his heart to end the tutoring. On the lawn. You don't want to do it. There was a slightly wrong expression on the girl's face. Then frowned, why? Is it because of low pay? No. Wang Yi explained, because the college entrance examination is about to take place recently, I am afraid I don't have time to do this tutoring, so it's better to end it early. To be honest, the salary paid by the girl is already very high. A student usually teaches 100 per hour, but his is 105. Gao Yurong looked at Wang Yi, and it took a long time to say reluctantly, if this is the case, then all right. Wang Yi was also relieved to see Gao Yurong agree. After getting along for so long, Wang Yi also knows that Gao Yurong's temperament is a bit stubborn, so he is afraid that she will object. Of course, it's useless for her to object, but after all, the two have known each other for so long, and it's not good for the relationship to froze. At this time, Gao Yurong said again, in order to thank you for teaching me so long, I will treat you to a meal. Wang Yi quickly said, no need. Gao Yurong didn't say anything, but just looked at Wang Yi. 3 seconds later, Wang Yi was defeated, and said helplessly, well then, where are we going to eat? Gao Yurong slightly ticked the corner of his mouth, go to my house, I will cook, let you craft. Wang Yi couldn't help but looked at Gao Yurong with suspicion. For almost a year, he had never seen Gao Yurong cook. Of course, it might be because he rarely appeared at Gao Yurong's house. However, the girl Gao Yurong gave him the impression that although she was not the kind of spoiled eldest lady, she did not quite resemble the kind of girl who could cook. But of course Wang Yi would not say such things. Is it too much trouble for you, or let's go out to eat? I invite you. Wang Yi said. Although he is in a tight hand, he still has money for a meal. Of course, it's not a big hotel or a place like that. Wang Yi can't afford it. Zhao Han and the others invited Wang Yi to go twice, but after 2 times Wang Yi stopped going. Gao Yurong stared at Wang Yi. Do you look down on me? You think I can't cook? Of course not. Then follow me. Finally, Wang Yi followed Gao Yurong to her house, opened the door, and a spacious, bright and clean living room appeared in front of Wang Yi. It felt that this living room was larger than his home, which was actually the case. There are 2 rooms, 1 kitchen and 1 bathroom, balcony. The conditions are better than Wang Yi's, I don't know how much. There is still a faint fresh fragrance in the room. Although Wang Yi is Gao Yurong's tutor, he has never met Gao Yurong's parents. He only knows that her parents have separated. Her father lives in the base city of Kyoto and her mother lives in the base city of Jiangnan. Gao Yurong's mother seems to be very busy. Wang Yi never met her, and Gao Yurong never talked about her parents in front of Wang Yi. Sit first. If you're bored, there are TVs and laptops. You can play first. Gao Yurong became a little casual after entering the house. After changing her shoes, she put on household slippers. You can see the white tender feet stepping on the slippers. Kick on the ground. Wang Yi originally said he wanted to help Gao Yurong cook together, so he was still a bit uncomfortable with the treatment of reaching out for the meal and opening his mouth. However, thinking that the 2 of them seemed to be more embarrassed in the kitchen, Wang Yi didn't say anything. Gao Yurong went back to the bedroom and changed her clothes. With Wang Yi's extraordinary hearing, even though she was separated from a door by a certain distance, she could still hear the whispering sound of her clothes. The picture of Gao Yurong changing her clothes naturally appeared in his mind. Knowing that Gao Yurong is in good shape, it was a bit too exciting when the scene emerged. How could Wang Yi be a healthy, full-blooded young man? There were some ripples in his heart naturally, but with Wang Yi's will, naturally he would not be shaken by such a temptation. His eyes immediately regained clarity, and he heard the voice again. There is no longer that kind of floating. Calm down, and simply open the notebook placed on the desk in the hall to find out what a movie I am more interested in looks like. Gao Yurong came out of the room. The original sportswear had been turned into casual wear at home. The ponytail was also untied and draped behind him. There was a bright and moving feeling in the whole person. Wang Yi looked up and couldn't help but stay in a daze. Usually Gao Yurong he felt a little reserved and cold, and it was the first time that he saw Gao Yurong appear in front of him in this way. Wang Yi immediately lowered his head, thinking in his heart that women are all tigresses, and women are all tigresses. But there was the movement of Gao Yurong changing clothes in the room just now appeared in his mind, and his thoughts almost didn't stray. What are you looking at? Gao Yurong's cold and pleasant voice rang in her ears, and then a faint fragrance floated over. Even the corner of Wang Yi's eyes could see the strands of long hair hanging down by Gao Yurong. Wang Yi's tone was calm. Said, Star Wars 6. Oh. Gao Yurong stood next to Wang Yi for a while, as if there was nothing to look at. She turned away and went to the refrigerator in the corner of the living room. Forgot to ask, what would you like to drink? Whatever. Wang Yi said, then added another. It's not mineral water. Then you can drink the juice I squeezed last night, frozen. Gao Yurong quickly took a slightly cloudy orange drink and placed it in front of Wang Yi. I added several kinds of fruits to it, I don't know if it suits your taste. Wang Yi glanced at the cup in front of him, grabbed it, and took a sip. It was sweet and sour and cold. It's okay, it tastes good. In fact, Wang Yi prefers tea. Of course he wouldn't say that to Gao Yurong. Gao Yurong seemed to see it, her brows raised slightly, she seemed a little unhappy, but she didn't say anything, and changed the subject. What do you like to eat? I'll see if there are any ingredients in the kitchen. Whatever you want. Wang Yi was a little helpless, he really didn't like the trouble. But Gao Yurong was embarrassed to refuse. Okay. Gao Yurong didn't care about it this time. She took out an apron and tied it around her waist. Her waist was very slim but her legs were very slender, and she turned and walked into the kitchen. Wang Yi shook his head listening to the movement of the kitchen. With the sound of clanging, the scent of the food floated out of the kitchen for a while. Wang Yi sniffed and muttered, "It seems not bad, it looks edible." Feelings. He just thought he would eat dark dishes today. Soon Gao Yurong brought the food, and didn't make much, so he simply made 4 dishes and 1 soup, but it looked delicious, and it gave people a feeling of moving index fingers. Gao Yurong even took out a bottle of red wine that Wang Yi could not recognize. Both of them poured a glass. "Try to see if it tastes good." Gao Yurong looked at Wang Yi with a hint of expectation. At this time, Wang Yi is not hypocritical, after all, Gao Yurong is not a stranger. Directly took a piece of meat with chopsticks and put it in his mouth, chewed it, and then moved his brows. "How is it?" Gao Yurong was a little nervous. "It's okay," Wang Yi said honestly. "That's it." Gao Yurong was a little dissatisfied. Wang Yi gave her a helpless look. "Well, it's delicious." Gao Yurong nodded in satisfaction. After coming out of Gao Yurong's house, it was already dark. Wang Yi walked out of the complex and glanced back. He could also see that the lights of Gao Yurong's house were on. He shook his head. It was not that he didn't realize Gao Yurong's affection for him, but Wang Yi really didn't willing to talk about these at this time. After all, sometimes he has to take on more important responsibilities. Wang Yi has no experience in children's love. "Let's take a look," Wang Yi murmured. Lin Yu, Shen Yan, and Gao Yurong appeared in his mind. Wang Yi shook his head, thinking that he must have been slack recently, so that he would think so much. "Let's practice more today." Soon Wang Yi came to the outside of the compound of the District Extreme Martial Arts Hall. I swiped my card skillfully at the front entrance of the martial arts hall. When I walked in, I suddenly remembered that I didn't sign in today. According to the rules, it should be possible to sign in at the martial arts hall once. Panel. Wang Yi hurriedly said silently in his heart. A golden panel appeared in front of Wang Yi. "Check in." Ding! Congratulations to the host for signing in successfully, and rewarding the body experience +1. Your body style has been elevated to the level of proficient. Number of check-ins available for this place, 0. Wang Yi frowned when he heard it. The physical fitness of a warrior can be improved through practice. However, body skills, sword skills, etc., all rely on experience. Is not to say that the body strength is strong, this body art is high. If you want to improve your body skills and sword skills, you have to go through hard training again and again, and there is no shortcut. A solid foundation, proficiency, and easy use. These are the first 3 levels of body technique and sword technique. And this is only the foundation. Among the human warriors, it is the lowest level. The whole body can be divided into 4 levels, basic, subtle, perfect, artistic, conception. I didn't expect the sign-in panel to actually improve my physical fitness. It's incredible. Wang Yi felt the large amount of knowledge and memory that appeared out of thin air in his mind, and at the same time, his body also poured out an instinct, as if he had been trained thousands of times. That Chen Fa Dodge consciousness and experience have been integrated into his body's instinct. It is very difficult for ordinary martial artists to improve their body skills. Unless they are geniuses, they will go through a lot of training before they can improve a little. It is that after more than 10 years of hard training, Wang Yi finally reached the first level of the foundation of body law, a solid level, and it takes a long way to become proficient. But the sign-in panel allows him to improve from solid to proficient in one sign-in. Incredible! The improvement of body skills also made Wang Yi's strength stronger. After all, body style is also part of strength. Wang Yi couldn't help but think, you can sign in at the Extreme Martial Arts Gym in Guqing District, so you should be able to sign in at the Thunderbolt Gym. There are now two major martial arts gymnasiums in the world, that is, the Extreme Martial Arts Gym created by the world's #1 powerhouse Hong and the Raiden Martial Arts Gymnasium created by the world's second strongest player Thunder God. These two are the strongest people who truly stand on the top of the human world. Anyone who gets the human world will talk about invincible. However, Thunder God is the world's fastest in speed, first in physical strength, and first in power amplitude. And Hong has an even more sky-defying field. Sling and beat everything to dissatisfaction. Wang Yi of course knows the terribleness of Hong and Thor. It is not an exaggeration to know that the gap between him and these two is the difference between Sun and Moon and Firefly, but this will only make him more motivated to catch up. With the sign-in panel this artifact, if I can't surpass Hong and Thor, then I'm really useless. Wang Yi was full of passion. But I have signed in once today, and I have to wait until tomorrow to sign in at the Radian Martial Arts Center. The sign-in panel can only sign in once a day, and the same place can only sign in once. And there are other restrictions. Wang Yi is walking in the courtyard of the martial arts hall wearing the martial arts senior student certificate. It is now after 7 o'clock at night. Because most of the martial arts halls are students and office workers, there are no people during the day, and there are many talents at night. At this moment, there are a lot of lawns and roadsides. When the students saw Wang Yi, they all greeted him with respect. "Brother!" "Hello brother!" Wang Yi also smiled and nodded in greeting, but he was thinking about his own affairs in his heart. Now my genetic level has increased 3 times, and my body skills have also increased to a proficiency level. There is no problem with passing the quasi-martial examination. If you want to become a warrior, you must go through 2 assessments, and the quasi-warrior assessment is the first. Tests fist strength, speed, and neural reaction speed. With Wang Yi's current physical fitness, it has long surpassed the physical fitness of a quasi-warrior and has reached the level of a real warrior. Of course, physical fitness is only the most basic part. Real warriors have experienced countless life and death battles. Actual combat experience, will, and on-the-spot performance are also very important aspects. This is also the reason why there is a warrior actual combat assessment. Is to sift down those who have passed the physical fitness test and cannot do it in actual combat. But I improved too fast. Before, I was only about 800 kilograms of boxing strength. Many people in the entire martial arts gym know that if I suddenly expose my strong strength, I am afraid it will attract unnecessary suspicion. Wang Yi is very clear. From 800 kilograms to 850 kilograms, you can be said to be a genius. If you can learn some special skills, it is not impossible to double. Those are peerless geniuses that are rare in a century. Soaring from 800 kilograms to 2,400 kilograms? What would others think of him? The troubles behind this might make Wang Yi very annoying. After all of Wang Yi's whereabouts are fixed and obvious. He couldn't explain how he became so powerful all at once. You can't take risks. Wang Yi was sober. Even if you want to show your strength, you have to be assessed by a martial artist, and after you have obtained the genetic primordial energy training method. Gene primordial energy cultivation method is a method for human beings to absorb the energy of the universe and optimize the evolution of genes. Is the same as the ancient martial arts mentality for practicing internal strength in martial arts novels. But it's the genetic power that cultivates. It is the body that strengthens. Is strengthened to the point where you reading www.yuyuganshu.com can ignore even modern thermal weapons. However, the original genetic training method is confidential and can only be obtained after passing the quasi-warrior assessment, and the physical fitness must reach the level of the quasi-warrior to have a chance to practice successfully. The vast majority of quasi-martialers can practice successfully, only a few can't. Wang Yi certainly wouldn't feel that he was unsuccessful in his cultivation with his current 3 times the genetic level of the body. Besides, genes could have been practiced for the first time, and it was also the biggest improvement. Wang Yi's eyes are piercing. Even if there is a substantial improvement in physical fitness at this time, others only think that I am the kind of rare and peerless genius, and it is too late to recruit me, so how can I doubt me? Wang Yi remembers clearly that in the original work, Luo Feng relied on the link of spiritual power. It was the first time he cultivated his genetic power and his physical fitness greatly increased. That was why Zhang Nian, the district martial arts instructor, was greatly shocked and directly recommended it to him. Zhuge Tao, the director of the Jiangnan Base City General Assembly, signed a special recruitment contract. That treatment, but now Wang Yi is jealous. Luo Feng only raised 2,000 kilograms, he was regarded as a monster genius who only appeared 1 or 2 in Jiangnan Base City a year. Based on my physical fitness, I am afraid that my fist strength is 2,400 kilograms. In addition to continuing to exercise during this period, my genes can be awakened for the first time. Cultivation, I am afraid it can be greatly improved. Plus sign in. It's normal to raise 4 to 5,000 kilograms or something during the first practice. It's not an exaggeration to join an elite training camp. Hey, I'm such a genius. But before that, Wang Yi must be careful, after all, he is too weak now. What Wang Yi has to do now is to improve the physical fitness of the Kasa martialists in a reasonable manner before the Kasa war fighters assessment on July 1st. Oh, it seems that this period of time can only be more hard work. Wang Yi looked at the training hall that was more than 100 meters long and wide, and slapped his mouth, thinking to himself. Fortunately, I have already had 800 kilograms of physical strength before. Even if it has been increased to 900 kilograms in these 2 months, it is a bit abrupt, but it is not unacceptable. Even if they suspect it, it's useless. I have passed the quasi-martial artist qualification and obtained the quasi-martial artist qualification, which is equivalent to half a fighter. They can't help me. In this era, warriors have a lot of privileges because of their high status and strength. Although it is also bound by the law, its status is indeed higher than that of ordinary people. However, warriors are also the first line of power against monsters. Every year, I don't know how many warriors go deep into the wilderness and die under the monsters. And the human world is also protected by powerful warriors, so that people can maintain their current relatively peaceful life. Rights and obligations are equal, since there are gains, of course there will be sacrifices and sacrifices. Wang Yi deeply knows how dangerous this world is. Now, let's start with the first step. Wang Yi walked to an exercise machine. In the following time, Wang Yi continued to go to school every day, exercise at the martial arts gym, and also signed in at the community Raiden martial arts gym. The reward was a 10% increase in cell activity. The so-called cell activity is actually a body's ability to recover. People with strong cell activity, such as vomiting blood from a serious injury to the internal organs, may be intact in half a minute. For example, if the arm bone is broken, it will be intact in a short while. The stronger the cell activity, the faster the recovery speed. While the martial artist's body has evolved genetically, the cell activity far exceeds that of ordinary people. The stronger the warrior, the more amazing the cell viability. Evolved to the back, that is, the arms and legs are gone, and the genes can grow back. Of course, Wang Yi has only increased the cell activity of the current body by 10%, but it is not so powerful. It can only be said that it is better than nothing. It only makes Wang Yi's body recover faster after being injured, and the effect is very low. Wang Yi also understood the meaning of random sign-in panel. But fortunately, the rewards that appear on the sign-in panel are all for cultivation, and there will be no such ridiculous things. After, it took Wang Yi a while, before the college entrance examination came, he checked in all the martial arts halls of Zhejiang City except for the main urban area. Got various rewards. There are those that increase speed and agility, cell activity, body strength, nerve response speed, knife. Now Wang Yi's physical strength is 3,300 kilograms, which is rewarded by the sign-in panel, and he has also improved during this month of exercise. Wang Yi discovered that after his genetic level has tripled, his physical fitness has improved faster than before. I don't know how much. Even if there is no sign-in panel reward, he can easily increase his physical strength to the level of 900 kg quasi-warrior within 2 months. And if you put it in the past, I'm afraid he can only do it by going to the university and spending an unknown amount of time and energy. Wang Yi finally understood that he, who had obtained the genetic modification and evolution of the first Kulpa technique of the secret book of 9 tribulations, was like the people who cut the scriptures and cleansed the marrow in the novel, and had completely reborn. His current physical fitness is a real genius. I am afraid that the speed of cultivating genetic primal abilities is far surpassing ordinary people. And this is just one of Wang Yi's current advantages. His current body style and sword technique are also outstanding among his peers. This evening, Wang Yi came to the Extreme Martial Arts Gym. "Xiao Wang, you are here." Most of the men and women practicing in the lobby on the 3rd floor of the Extreme Martial Arts Hall smiled and greeted Wang Yi. Wang Yi also responded with a smile. "Wang Yi, you seem to have made rapid progress during this period. Have you taken any medicine?" A young man with a slightly fat body, slightly curly hair and a round face smiled at Wang Yi. "I have practiced a lot recently, I have improved a little bit." Wang Yi responded. In fact, it was Wang Yi who kept showing his speed of progress in front of outsiders in order to reduce the suspicion of others in the assessment of Khasa war fighters. "I will increase by 10 kilograms today, and will increase by 5 kilograms tomorrow, and this number will add up." In the eyes of others, Wang Yi seemed to have taken medicine suddenly, and his progress was amazing. Many senior students were curious to ask him if he got any ancestral secret recipe. Of course, Wang Yi couldn't say that he was acting, and it was all fooled by gagging. While exercising, chatting with a few familiar friends. "Speaking of, I'm almost 26 years old, and I have participated in the Khasa martialist examination twice, but I failed each time." One was wearing an undershirt and shorts, showing strong muscles, and half of his hair was dyed white. The young man sighed, "Don't look at it, it's a little bit worse. It may take us several years to work hard. The assessment of Khasa martialists is extremely strict. Everyone has only one chance. Just like a fighter who has only one chance on the battlefield, he fails in the assessment. The instructor will not give you a second chance. If you want to continue, you have to wait until next month." The other people next to each other are very concerned. "Brother Sun, you will definitely be able to pass the exam this time." "Yeah, Brother Sun, you are so good and you work so hard. If you can't, it would be too unreasonable." Brother Sun smiled and shook his head, "You said it is light, how simple it is." This quasi-martial examination requires a lot of physical fitness for everyone participating in the examination: fist strength, speed, nerve reaction speed, none of them can be pulled. Coming down. Speaking of speaking, fist strength should be the best to meet the standard, then speed, and finally nerve response speed. The first time I tested a martial artist, the speed did not meet the requirements. The second time was the nerve response speed, which you usually do. Don't always exercise your physical strength, you have to pay attention to exercise to cultivate the speed of nerve response. Several people beside nodded thoughtfully. Brother Sun turned his eyes, and saw a black-haired teenager who was lifting weights on a machine not far away, and there were 2 young women with bumps beside him. He couldn't help but feel a little bit emotional. Hey, it's good to be young and handsome. He seemed to forget that he was only in his 20s. There are not many senior women in the martial arts school, and there are even fewer women who are good-looking, and Wang Yi is considered the more popular one. However, the good thing that Wang Yi admired in the eyes of others was his insensitivity and uncomfortable feeling. Only after he became a senior student of Extreme Martial Arts Gym, he learned that women can also be so proactive. After casually dealing with the 2 young ladies who seemed to be interesting to him, Wang Yi walked to the place where he had a drink and rest. The treatment of senior students was different from those of intermediate and low-level students. The layout here was like a little girl like the bar. The martial arts gym provides free energy drinks to replenish physical strength to the students. Wang Yi took out the cup and poured a glass of water. He suddenly felt someone approaching behind him and subconsciously turned sideways. "Hey!" Grandson slapped his palm with an unexpected expression on his face. "Wang Yi, your reaction speed is good." Sun Ji complimented. "Hehe, brother Sun, you passed the award, what's the matter with brother Sun?" Wang Yi said. "It's okay, it's been a long time since everyone has a party. Later, I want to go to the Liji barbecue restaurant on the street to gather." "Happy, are you going?" Sun Ji asked. Senior students in the martial arts hall are of similar family status, so most of the relationships are okay. We can't say that gatherings like this happen every day, but they often appear. Wang Yi tactfully said, "Brother Sun, I want to stay and practice more." "Hey, Wang Yi, you work hard every day, and you have to pay attention to the combination of work and rest. After all, the body is the capital of the revolution. If you want to become a martial artist, you have to pay attention to scientific exercise methods," Sun Ji said earnestly. Wang Yi was a little bit dumbfounded, but he also knew that it was grand brother's kindness, so he didn't refuse in the end. After a while, a group of senior martial arts students who met to have a barbecue began to pack their things and walked downstairs. Although it was night, it was still early. There were a lot of students coming and going in the courtyard of the martial arts. A large group of senior martial arts students came out together, looked sideways, and said hello politely. "Hello, Brother Sunday. Brother Sunday. Senior Brother Sun, where are you going to be chic again tonight?" Surrounded by people, the grandson who took the lead in the front was full of spring breeze, and he felt a little cheerful. As the strongest and most popular grandson among the current batch of advanced martial arts students, he enjoys the feeling of being in the center of the crowd and being held in the moon by the stars. Wang Yi, who was dressed in ordinary casual clothes, also seemed inconspicuous among the crowd. Rumble, a low air wave came, making everyone look at him. At this time, the front entrance of the Extreme Martial Arts Gym was closed, and the white sports car that looked very gorgeous, slowly drove into the martial arts gym. "What? Is it an Aston Martin sports car? Or the latest and most expensive THR-191 with flight function? This is the instructor's car." After seeing the coming car clearly, all the senior students of the Extreme Martial Arts Gym were shocked. They didn't dare to be rude and stepped aside. Wang Yi, like other students, watched the gorgeous white sports car slowly driving past with envy. This car costs at least 36 million Chinese currency. What is this concept? According to Wang Yi's current tutor salary, he can't afford a car like this for a lifetime of work. The sports car stopped at the entrance of the senior student teaching building, the door opened, and two men in loose martial arts uniforms walked out from inside. One of them was a man with a beard, a tall stature and a face with Chinese characters, Wang Yi and his community's limit martial arts gym. The instructor Shen Ying. The man who was by his side was a man Wang Yi had never seen before. He had a slender figure, a thin face and a scar, and he felt like a blade. This is also a warrior. Although I haven't seen it, Wang Yi can see the unique temperament of a warrior like the instructor. Every warrior has undergone real life and death trials. Fight. The temperament on his body is very different from that of general martial arts. Is like a bat-leadist warrior, sometimes just a glance can make people afraid to look straight. Wang Yi watched the instructor and the lean man walk into the high-level student teaching building with a smile, while the gorgeous white sports car was parked outside, attracting attention. "Hey, the Aston Martin 191 of the instructor is really enviable. I don't know when I can buy one," a senior student in the crowd exclaimed. "As long as you can become a warrior, you also have the opportunity to buy it." "Yes, become a warrior. Work hard. We all have a chance. Everyone seems to be aroused ambition. Wang Yi is also full of hope in his heart. In a blink of an eye, it's May 18th. This evening, Wang Yi complied with Lin Yuyu's agreement and came to her community according to the address. Looking at the beautiful and secluded community in front of him, and the exquisite luxury villas in the community, Wang Yi sighed a little, although he was already surprised when he got the address, that his usual quiet table-mate was so wealthy. Family history, but when I saw it with my own eyes, I was still a little surprised that Lin Yuyu's family was rich. This villa community in front of me is probably the most luxurious community in the entire Guqing district. You must know that this is the base city era. The entire Jiangnan base city has a population of more than 200 million people. With such a huge population, the land is naturally very tight. It is generally difficult for the rich to live in single-family villas. Even if you have money, you don't have a status. It can be seen from this that Lin Yuyu's family must be extraordinary. But with Wang Yi's current strength, naturally he would not care about this. At the gate of the community, there are black uniforms and imposing security guards. With Wang Yi's current eyesight, it can be seen at a glance that these security guards have very strong physical qualities. Although they are not as good as senior students, they are not far behind. Hello, I have received an invitation to go to my classmate's house for her birthday. Wang Yi walked over and smiled. The security at the gate is very high quality and very polite. May I ask the name of your classmate, and the specific residence? Yes. Wang Yi reported it quickly. Please wait a minute. Wang Yi didn't wait long. The security quickly confirmed. After checking Wang Yi's ID card and registering, he smiled politely. Sir, please come in. Wang Yi walked on the tree-shaded road in the community, muttering, it's really troublesome to want to come in. He raised his head and looked around. But the environment here is pretty good. Mom and Dad must live here very well. Wang Yi did not envy, because he knew that after a while, after he passed the martial arts assessment, he could get these and more. On both sides of the small road, dense and verdant bamboos stand in 2 rows staggeredly. The wind blows gently and the bamboo leaves shimmer, bringing a natural and tranquil mood. Living in such a place is to enjoy. Wang Yi thought to himself. Wang Yi followed the roadside instructions and quickly found the place said by the address. When Wang Yi raised his head, he could see the Treste villa with white walls and red tiles in front of him. The white plaster walls combined with the light red roof tiles were so dazzling in the brightly lit compound at night. They lived in low-rent housing for more than 10 years. Wang Yi couldn't help being envious again. Before Wang Yi could finish his emotions, there was already a figure at the door. Wang Yi! There are fish in the forest. The two looked at each other, and Wang Yi realized that Lin Yuyu's dress now is completely different from before. The black and soft long hair falls generally behind the slender and petite body, and the thick black framed glasses under the neat bangs are gone, revealing a standard face of melon seeds, clearly reflected in the lake-clear eyes. The figure of the young man, the enthusiasm that flows like a fire. Wang Yi has never felt that Lin Yuyu is so amazing. The thrilling beauty is like a flower that has been in bud for a long time, waiting for the right moment to bloom her moving style. The two looked at each other, but they didn't know what to say for a while. The air plunged into a slightly embarrassing atmosphere. After a long time, Lin Yuyu stroked the long hair near her ear, seeming to have deliberately concealed her reddish face, and whispered softly. Wang Yi, come in. Entering the gate of the villa, you can see a path paved with pebbles. On both sides of the path are a row of stone benches. On the stone benches lined up are pots of flowers and trees of various shapes, which is pleasing to the eye. Turn left on the small road, it is a moon gate, enter the moon gate, it is the courtyard on the first floor of the villa. Has been set up as a birthday celebration venue in the yard, although it is not too grand, but it also reveals a strong celebration. There were some people standing in the yard, most of them were young and brightly dressed young men and women. Seeing Lin Yuyu walking in with a young teenager, there was a touch of surprise on his face, and many men still had a trace of hostility in their eyes. Lin Yuyu also noticed that Wang Yi was looking at those people, and whispered in Wang Yi's ear, "They are all relatives and friends invited by my parents." Wang Yi nodded clearly. Lin Yuyu's 18th birthday, it is normal to invite some relatives and friends over, but it seems that some people are not very happy to show up. And Lin Yuyu's intimate behavior towards Wang Yi also made more people look weird. Lin Yuyu's family background is very special, so many of the men present at the scene actually had some thoughts about her, but before they started taking action, they killed Cheng Yaojin halfway through, and it seemed that Lin Yuyu seemed to have a very bad attitude towards him. Generally, this is unacceptable. Although they didn't look very pleasing to Wang Yi, they didn't show it. "There is a fish, who is this? Don't you tell us about it." A white girl with a bronzing ponytail stood up and smiled. "He is my classmate, Wang Yi." Lin Yuyu looked at Wang Yi softly. "Oh, it's your classmate." The white girl's eyes fell on Wang Yi's overly handsome face and plain clothes, and her smile became brighter. "Is Wang Yi? Nice to meet you, my name is Shang Yuyu." The girl stretched out her little white hand and shook Wang Yi. Shang Yuyu and Wang Yi had a few rounds of conversation before leaving. In the corner, Shang Yuyu was somewhat similar to a boy who was wearing glasses and said in a low voice, "Brother, don't worry, that man is not threatening you." The corners of her mouth raised slightly, "That Lin Yuyu is stupid, do you want me to ask her out another day to create opportunities for you?" The man with glasses looked at Lin Yuyu who was talking and laughing with Wang Yi, a haze appeared in his eyes, and he helped his glasses. "Don't mess around. My family works under Lin Yuyu's father's company. If Director Lin is offended, parents won't be able to protect you." The girl Shang Yuyu pretended to be angry, "Brother, I'm helping you, how can you say that to your sister?" Shang Wenhai glanced at his charming and innocent sister, and sighed, "I don't know you yet, do you fall in love with that man?" "He he." Seeing her shrewd elder brother, Shang Yuyu said with a smile, "I still can't lie to you. People like this type. You don't know it." She stretched out her pink tongue and licked it lightly, licking her seductive jelly lips with a sparkling luster. "Also, I don't believe you didn't find out." Lin Yuyu's expression on Wang Yi is obviously secretive. "Brother, if you don't start, I'm afraid there will be no chance." Shang Wenhai glanced at his sister, and said nothing. "If you don't speak, I will take it as your acquiescence. When the time comes, the man will belong to me, and the woman will belong to you. Are you so sure?" Although Shang Wenhai knew that his sister had a little bit of style in private, her parents were kept in the dark because of her good disguise. Had it not been for Shang Wenhai's accidental crash, he would have thought that my sister is still that good girl who is obedient and well-behaved. Shang Wenhai managed several times. Yuyu read www.yuyuganshu.com and found that my sister was still doing her own way, so she threatened her to tell her parents what she had done if she went on like this, so that she was more restrained. And this time, my sister seemed to have met her heartwarming prey again, and wanted to take the opportunity to drag him into the water. Shang Wenhai knows how unscrupulous this sister is doing things, so he can't help but hesitate. If the handle falls to my sister, it is estimated that she will have to be her accomplice in the future, and it will be hard to control her. At this moment, another person walked in outside, and her appearance instantly attracted the attention of many people present, especially many men. Their eyes brightened. "There are fish, here I am." Wang Yi heard a familiar and cold voice coming from behind, and couldn't help turning his head. He just saw a girl with a delicate appearance, a tall body, and a slightly cold temperament coming in with a lavender dress. When Wang Yi saw Gao Yurong naturally saw him too. The two of them faced each other with a surprised expression on their faces. Gao Yurong blinked. "Wang Yi, why are you here?" Lin Yuyu is my classmate, I am here to attend her birthday today. Wang Yi replied subconsciously. Really? It's such a coincidence. Gao Yurong's clear eyes passed by Lin Yuyu, who was close to Wang Yi, his brows frowned slightly, and then he stretched out and walked to Lin Yuyu's side, close to him. Holding her hand, she smiled and said, "It's been a long time, there are fishes. Happy birthday to you." Lin Yuyu smiled when she saw Gao Yurong, and gave her a hug. "Thank you for your blessing, Yurong." Then, Wang Yi, who was standing next to him leisurely and having nothing to do, saw the two girls looking towards him together.